俺を止められるか。
Now, let the show begin. Round 1. Fight.
Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Blue Gaming, and today I'm talking about Tekken 7. Now, one thing before we get into this, I don't play fighting games normally. This is pretty much the only traditional fighting game that I've pretty much ever played. I've dabbled a little bit in Soul Calibur 4 or 5, I don't remember which one it was, but this is the only one that I've ever actually put some time into. And so this review is going to be for people who also don't typically play fighting games. So let's just get right into this. Now, starting off, there's one huge thing that Tekken 7 is missing. It's missing a tutorial. You really just, when you go into it, you're just dropped into it, and you're expected to know a little bit. There is a practice room where you can go through and see characters' moves and such, but there's nothing in the game that actually helps you like choose what kind of character you want. Nothing really to start you off. You're really just dropped in, and you just have to choose a character and just start looking at the moves. And the move lists of characters can be pretty overwhelming because a typical character has anywhere from 80 to over 100 different moves and combos that they can do. And so it can be really overwhelming for a new player. I personally recommend just looking online for some new player-friendly characters, somebody like Lars or Fang, and start trying some of their combos and really see what kind of character you want to play. I personally went through several different characters when starting out in this. I actually started playing as Claudio, then I tried to go to Leo, and I finally ended up on Lars. And that's pretty much what you see me play throughout the entirety of this, is Lars. And so for a new player to actually just get the basics of the game down, this can take quite a bit to get into. And you might think that the story mode that the game has, called the Mishima Saga, might actually help new players, but in that you don't actually use the real move list of any of the characters that you play as. Just to give an example, in the story mode, most of the time you're playing as Heihachi Mishima, and they tell you that the basic combo for him is 1-1-1, or another basic combo is 2-2-2. Those are not actual combos that you can pull off with him in multiplayer. Granted, they might be combos for him, but they definitely aren't the same animation that they have, and they don't fulfill the same purpose. The closest that you'll get to something like that is with the character episodes, which is something that you unlock after you beat the main story. You unlock character episodes for every character in the game, and these character episodes kind of give a little bit of backstory to why this character is in the game or in the Iron Fist tournament, and then it gives you a little showcase of kind of what their moves could be. But it's really not sufficient for a tutorial, because even in that character episode, it doesn't give you any idea on what a combo is for that character. You just kind of have to figure it out. Now, moving on, once you actually get a character kind of started off, there's several different things that you can do. You can either play online or offline, and I'll go through what you can do in each of these. So in offline, there are actually several different modes that you can play. You can either play the arcade battle, which is the single-player story kind of thing that they had in the actual arcade cabinets of Tekken 7, which released several years before the home version of Tekken 7. And this is what you're seeing in the background, and it takes you through several different setup fights, and then you get to fight a couple bosses along the way. And then once you finish those fights, then you get rewarded with some in-game coins and stuff after you beat everybody in there. Then you can also play treasure battles, which after winning a treasure battle, you unlock a treasure, which gives you some cosmetic item in the game, which I'll get to the cosmetics here in a bit. Just know that there's a lot of them. And, yeah, treasure battles, the more wins that you rack up and the higher that your win streak goes, the more rare items that you can unlock in these treasure battles. Next is a versus battle mode, which is really a couch co-op kind of battle mode, and so that's really great to see because not a lot of games have couch co-op. And then finally, there's the practice mode that I was talking about earlier, where you can actually go in and pull up your character's move list and try to work through different combos and stuff. I really recommend that as a new player, you go into the practice mode and spend quite a significant amount of time actually making sure that you can get these combos down. And you can actually set up the AI to attack you and such. So you can really get some good practice in to make sure that you can consistently get off these combos that you're trying to get, or these other random attacks or strings of attacks. Next, moving on to the online modes that you can go into, there are your regular ranked battles, which is what most people are going to be playing ranked battles. It starts off at beginner rank, and then you work your way up through a very long list of ranks. To give you a little bit of an idea how many ranks there are, everybody starts out at beginner, and then after you rank up from beginner, you go to 9th queue, or I think that's how you pronounce it, but then you work your way from 9th queue up to 8th, then 7th, then 6th, all the way up to 1st queue. Then you get to the Dan ranks, which there are 30 some, I believe. I think there's right about 36 or so, but it works your way from 1st Dan to 2nd Dan, then 3rd Dan, going up Disciple, then Mentor, then Master, then Grandmaster, and then skipping a bit all the way down to the end where you get things like Tekken Lord, Tekken Emperor, Tekken God, and the highest rank is True Tekken God. And so there is over 40 different ranks that you can go up, which take tons of battles. I know a person that has over 2,000 battles played in Tekken with just ranked battles, and he is still in the middle of this ranking system. So it takes a long time to rank up. Then the other modes that you can play in online are regular player matches, which you would think that new players kind of play those, but really nobody really plays player matches. The only difference that they have from ranked matches are that instead of playing from the best, first to 3 wins, player matches, I believe, have first to 2 wins, and then player matches don't affect your rank at all, which is pretty simple. Then finally, you can enter into tournaments where you get, it's a double elimination tournament where you fight somebody. If you win, you move up. If you lose, you fall down to the loser's bracket, and then you try to work your way up again. The winner of the loser's bracket and the winner of the winner's bracket fight in this grand championship, and then it's first to 2 losses, or if the loser or the winner of the loser's bracket beats the winner of the winner's bracket, then they fight again. But if at any point you're in the loser's bracket and you lose again, you're just knocked out of the tournament. And like a typical tournament, the top 3 players get rewards, and these are some pretty massive rewards in game. I believe they get a special crate, which gives you a chance to unlock rare cosmetics, and then you also get a bunch of coins that you can use to unlock other cosmetics and customization items. Now, I've been talking about cosmetics a lot, and so let's just go into actually what some of those cosmetics are. Now, cosmetics in this game are set up into 2 different categories. There's player cosmetics, which are actually things like your health bar and your player portrait and your little title thing that you see below your health bar, which mine says "Go easy on me," and things like that. Then there is character customization where you can actually change how your character looks and different things like that. Like what you're seeing right now is my customized Lars character because he doesn't actually look like that. And so you can use coins to unlock specific items in those two different categories. But there is still some items that you can only unlock either through treasure battles or unlocking treasure chests, or there's other items where you have to reach either a certain rank or do a certain achievement to unlock that. Now, moving on from that, there's two other modes in Tekken 7. The first of which is the Gallery, which lets you unlock all the cutscenes from every Tekken game that there's been. Everything all the way back to the original Tekken, Tekken 2, 3, all the way up until now. It lets you unlock all the cutscenes from all of those, plus all of the kind of artwork from all of those. And so that's really great. Then I've heard that it's exclusive to either the PlayStation version or the consoles version, but there's a thing called the Jukebox where you can actually make specific playlists using music from every single Tekken game, which is a really great addition because they have access to that. It's just great to kind of give that kind of customization because most games don't do that. So now I'll get into why you would choose Tekken over some other fighting games such as Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Injustice. Those are really the other big ones right now. But the first thing is all three of those I mentioned, Street Fighter, Injustice, and Mortal Kombat, those are all 2D fighting games. Tekken is kind of special in that it is a 3D fighting game, meaning that you can move not only forward and back from your opponent, but also side to side. And that allows you to do a bunch of different moves, and it allows you to dodge some moves, and it really just gives you more options as a player to attack your opponent. The next thing is that if you look in most other fighting games, the characters can still operate while being super far away from each other. Tekken's kind of special in that the characters are really going to be up close to each other about 95% of the time. There's only one character, being Akuma, which is originally from Street Fighter, that really is okay to operate at a long distance. And this is really kind of great for new players, as when an opponent is being super aggressive, they can't keep you at a distance and just cheese you. They have to actually get up to you where you can still do moves to kind of offset that, and I've never really seen anybody just get completely blown out at a lower rank, as pretty much everybody else is also a lower rank if you're playing in the ranked battles, and because you have to move close to each other, it gives you a chance to hit back or do something to damage your opponent as well. The next reason why you would want to play Tekken over some other fighting game is that the move list and the different move variety in this game is extreme compared to other fighting games where you might have maybe a fifth of the moves that you have in Tekken. Like I said before, a typical character has between 80 and like 120 or so different moves, and this really allows different characters or even different people playing the same character to play that character differently, and so you aren't going up against the same thing over and over and over again. And on top of that, to add to even more character diversity in this game, you will hear many pros of Tekken tell you that the tier list doesn't matter because of how well balanced every single character is to each other. One character in this game is not super overpowered. Some might have slightly simpler combos that give you an amount of damage that is equal to, say, a more powerful combo. But every single character has these high damage combos and these quick moves, and no character is really super overpowered in every single aspect. So I've been talking for a while, and I think that's finally time to wrap this up. Overall, I think that Tekken 7 is a great buy if you're looking into it. It's not exactly the friendliest fighting game for new players, but I think it does give enough tools to actually allow new players to become really, really great before they start going into online and doing ranked and such. And the ability to have tournaments built into the game is a great addition that I don't think any other fighting game has. And just everything all together, this is definitely one worth picking up. Now, one thing before I do finish off that I almost forgot about, some people are going to ask, how's the netcode with this game? Now, this normally doesn't get brought up in a lot of other games, but fighting games in particular, netcode is really important. Now, on the PC, I've heard that the netcode lag for a perfect connection player is right in around the 2 to 3 frame mark, where on the PlayStation, which is what I play on, it's right around the 8 frame mark, which is incredibly good for a fighting game like this. If you're worried about playing against people that don't have the best of connections, in practice mode you can actually set the characters to have this kind of simulated lag of what they expect someone with a lower quality connection to have. But thankfully there are plenty of people playing that have 4 and 5 bar connections, and the lag is extremely minimal. Like I said, on the PlayStation, it's right about 8 frames, and it's consistently 8 frames, and people have checked it, and the netcode overall is very, very consistent. So that is going to be it for this. This is definitely a buy. As always, I'm Ryan from Blue Gaming, and I'll see you guys in next one.